Okay, so doing just some gentle bind work. Again, just like the wrist wrestling drill. Yeah, we have the camera in the middle, so either side works great. This is one of those things that you can never do enough of. Just feeling out whatever sword's in your hand, you want to start warming up and feeling those positions of advantage and feeling those binds. You can never get enough of it. But what were some things that people learned based on what we talked about with the body structure? What extended to the sword, what didn't? Let's hear some insights. Yeah. What's up?
Clear. Sync your posture.
Say again?
Sync your posture.
Sync your posture. Okay, yeah. So with, again, that same idea, if you're binding up here, right, you might have good control or not, but then all of a sudden you lose it more easily because you don't have your body as engaged as much. Yeah. What else? When did people feel they had advantage? Like, oh, I have control of my opponent. Yeah. Closer to the strong, closer to the weak. This is a great segue into the concept of strong and weak. I will come back to you in a second. Just want to get some more insights. What's your name and club? You win. By the way, how far was the drive? 5 hours?
3 hours.
Okay. Okay, you still win the record for. Thank you for driving 3 hours to be with us today. So yeah, what was your thought here?
When you got your sword over there, you aim for over the shoulder.
Yeah. Over the center line, like this kind of amorphous idea from like belly button to belly button. Yeah, one more thought here, and then we'll get back to strong and weak. Yeah, Dan, go for it.
And with St. Paul Fry Factory and Center for Blade Arts, and generally having the blade over there is about.
Yeah, overbinding, right? So we talk a lot about this concept of Überlaufen, right? Controlling over. Jason, would you mind training with me? Okay, so I want to get back to this idea of strong and weak. So could you give me a definition of strong?
So strong is the portion that sort of closest to the crossguard, and weak is the farthest away.
Yeah, so this part of the sword is known as the strong, and this part of the sword is known as the weak. And if you go up all the way through like 19th century saber manuals in like English and French traditions, they'll call it the forte and the foible, or the fort and the flab, right? It stays as a really common tradition or a core tradition of fencing. But let's talk about, that's the strong and the weak, right? So why do we call this the strong?
Because that's the strongest point of leverage.
The strongest point of leverage, right? Or the point where we have what? Control, mechanical advantage. Okay, so the strong of the blade is the place where we have mechanical advantage. So what does strong mean? Having mechanical advantage, right? And this is an important distinction that my coach James talks a lot extensively about. Yeah, it's almost like you guys train with me and we talk about this all the time, right? Some people do, some people don't, right? So having mechanical advantage, getting somebody's sword on this part of your sword is a really great way to do that, but there are more ways than that in order to gain mechanical advantage. Jason, can you get into a nice long point position for me, right? If I get onto this spot, do I have mechanical advantage here, yes or no, right? Do I have mechanical advantage here, yes or no? And well, it's a little bit funkier, right? If Jason's goal is to thrust me in the throat, please don't kill me, right? Maybe not the best position. So I have mechanical advantage like in this direction, but simply just having the strong on the weak, it helps, but it's not the entire picture. Now let's incorporate some other thoughts, right? We talked about having the sword over the top. Stay in your long point. Do I have mechanical advantage here? Why? What does this look like? Drop your sword for a second. Everyone get it? That's why we started with it. It's the mechanical advantage from our bodies extended through our sword, right? But let's put your swords back up again. This strong on the weak principle idea. If you back up for a little bit, just like half a step, great. Put your sword out in the same position. Do I have mechanical advantage here? Say it one more time. He doesn't. I would say so. Jason, try to stab me here. Just walk in and try to stab me. Now walk back out. Who has mechanical advantage here?
He has a slight
He has a slight mechanical advantage. Why? So when he tried to advance on me, do it one more time. Am I safe or no? Maybe not entirely. I could get snuck around here, but if I push on this versus Jason resisting, just push into my sword here, I'm not doing anything. I'm doing literally nothing except just I'm not pushing into him, right? So who has mechanical advantage? Yeah. So this principle of mechanical advantage, the concept of strong and weak, doesn't end with the strong of the sword and the weak of the sword. It goes through the entire sword and through our entire bodies. Now let's try this again. And this is a prelude to some stuff we'll detail more later, okay? So I'm in the same sword position here. Now try to press into my sword. Who had mechanical advantage? Why? Because my body's not engaged properly, right? So again, this body principle, like you don't have to have this part. This is really good way to get mechanical advantage. But there are principles that go beyond that action. It's our whole bodies. It's the idea of having control of the central line, as somebody talked about. It's about having, generally speaking, you can be over the sword. There are some exceptions, but in most cases, it's better to be over than under. And having your body structure engaged and nice and balanced inside hip position. All these things fit into the concept of strong. And if you read the texts of KDF, right, especially the earlier generation stuff, they'll say stuff like cut strongly or hew strongly. That doesn't necessarily mean you must get this part of the sword on theirs if at all possible. There are different ways that these techniques can work, right? This is a great way to do it. There are some times where this is correct, and it's a great place to end up. But just because I'm out at this distance where we bind before, that doesn't mean I have no advantage here. I can extend and be safe here, right? Does this principle make sense? The difference between the strong of the sword and the principle of structural strength or mechanical advantage, right? Okay. That's a really, really important concept for us to sit on, and I want us to remember that as best we can for the rest of the afternoon, right? We're gonna go into another drill where the goal was with a blast drill to feel these positions of mechanical advantage or not. Now we're gonna extend this into what I call single action. It's a single action drill. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be in a position, and Jason's going to throw an action at me, gently, not trying to hit me, but just trying to put the sword into space. And I'm gonna respond, and we're gonna freeze at this particular point. And from here, you just push into the bind a little bit, I push into the bind a little bit. We figure out who has mechanical advantage or not, right? Who is strong, who has strength, right? And reset. Now you do something different. I'm in this position here and you throw a different action, whatever you want. All right, you press into this, I press into this, who has mechanical advantage here, right? That's what we're gonna be doing. We're, instead of just binding and feeling, we're gonna actually turn this into a single action. Please be mindful of your distance. If you do hit your opponent in the mask, it happens, that's why we're wearing them. But the goal is to gain that advantage or feel who has advantage in the bind rather than trying to hit through to the opponent. Does everyone see the difference there? Okay, back to where you were before. We'll get everyone there, we'll rotate clockwise and we'll begin the drill.